Hello guys, welcome back. I hope you watched the previous video and you know how to create EFS and how to attach it to EC2 instance. Now let's have a question. To access EFS and perform actions on it, do we require permission? Yes, we require permission. Let's say I am a IAM user. So let's see what are the permissions that are required by an IAM user to create this EFS. What are the permissions that an IAM user requires to create the CFS? In order to create the CFS, IAM user must require two permissions, that is elastic file system create file system. This is the one permission, create file system. So in elastic file system, create file system is one permission and the another permission is, so after creating, do IAM user need to mount any EC2 instance, right? Yes. By using NFS protocol, he need to mount. So in order to mount, does he require mount permission? Yes. So he also require create mount target. So these are the two permissions that IAM user require in order to create your EFS and mount the targets. So these are the two permissions required to allow user to create EFS with EFS allowed mount targets. Okay. To perform actions which were carried out when we are creating mount target, do IAM require permissions, right? Yes. So while mounting the target, IAM need to, that means the user need to perform some actions. For those also user require some permissions, that is EC2 permissions that user require. What are those permissions, sir? User need to see under what VPC your EC2 instance will be present. So in order to see that network interfaces, so we need to see describe network interfaces. So these are the permissions that an IAM user will require in order to create EFS and mount your EFS. So in order to do those two, first user require under EFS, user require create file system and mount the target. Those two permissions that user require. In order to mount the target, you need to know EC2 where your instance is present. So for that, he also requires these three permissions, that is describe network interfaces and create network interface and describe subnet. So these are the permissions that a user require. These are the permissions that user require to in order to create your EFS and mount the targets, which are mount the EC2 instance target. Mount this EFS to EC2 instance target. Now let's see how to write a policy. So in order to provide these permissions, how can I able to provide? By using policy, right? Yes, by using policy, I can able to provide. Let's see how the policy will look like. So let's see how the JSON script will be. So I have already written the JSON script. Under this, you have version and statement and resource. So here under resource, I specified all so that all resources will be applicable. So under the statements, we have first statement which is present in one flower brace and second statement which is present in another flower brace. So if you see the structure inside, which will be same for two And what does the details does it contain? SID, effect and action and resource. So here also same things, SID, action, effect and resource. So what does this SID represent, sir? This SID represents, it's just a name of your permission. So this SID represents just a name for you to remember about these policies, about these actions, about this effect, about this resource. You're just specifying SID. You can remember it as subject, subject of this permissions. And here also same thing. So here I'd like to provide permissions for EFS, that is create file system and create mount target. So I have written my SID like that. So in order to allow the actions, I provided the effect as allow. And I have provided actions as what are the actions that I require, I provided. Elastic file system, create file system, and elastic file system, create mount target. And in final, you need to also specify the resource. So what is the resource that you are specifying? Since this EFS is a single file, I'm specifying, I mentioned here my resource name. So here you can see under file system, whatever the resources you have, those all will be specified like this. That is, every resource is having a ARN. What is this ARN, sir? ARN represents Amazon resource name. In order to identify that resource, AWS provides you a ARN for every resource. That you need to copy and paste here. Here you can see in place of region ID, whatever the region that you created your EFS file, that will be that you need to update here. While using this policy, that you need to update here. So like this, under this you have file system. Here in place of file system, you have file system name. So whenever you copy your ARN from your EFS. So for this EFS, what I am allowing, what effect I am allowing, these actions effects are allowing. What are they? Create file system and mount targets. So to whom I attach this policy, those person, those IAM user can able to create file system and create mount targets as well for all the files which are present under my file system, right? Yeah. So, and in order to provide EC2 permissions as well, I have written another script here, that is SID. What is this SID represents, sir? Same like above, here also SID represents subject of this policy. That is what we are allowing. We are provided effect as allow. For what we provided effect as allow, for what actions we provided EC to describe subnets and EC to create interfaces, network interfaces, and EC to describe network interfaces for all the resources we provided. So these were all the resources that we have provided. So like this, we have written a JSON script that we need to attach to whom? To the IAM user who want to create EFS file and who want to mount to the EC2 instances, who want to mount the EFS to the EC2 instances. For those, I need to provide this. So IAM user also requires some other permissions, that is to display VPCs and availability zones and security groups. So while creating your EFS, you have seen some in which VPC region that you need to put your EFS and which security group that you want to put this EFS. Those things you have seen, right? So in order to provide those things, first user need to know at where my EC2 instance is present, in which VPC my EC2 instance is present. So to know that, does user require permission to watch what are the VPCs and what are the EC2 instances which are present under that VPCs, and what are the availability zones, subnets, and security groups that are available for those EC2 instances, right? Yes. So he need to watch. So for those also, user require permissions. So to view EFS is created or not at console, IAM user require EC2 list permissions as well to see EFS files are created under dashboard or not. So mainly these are the permissions that an IAM user require to create EFS and to verify whether it is created or not, he need to have list permissions as well. So I hope you understood this video and you understood what are the 5 permissions that an IAM user must require to create and mount your EFS file system. If you feel, I hope you understood this video. If you feel this video is contentful, then please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. See you back in the next video. Until then, bye bye, guys.